Hi there, this is Izzy, and welcome to this Neofinetia or Vanda falcata and named varieties care collab. It's fantastic to have you back. I'm a little bit rusty at this, it's been a little while and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I am really delighted to be doing this care collab with What's Up Orchids, Nicole Diana, Fernanda Nascimento Orchids and Succulents, Petals, Sepals and Spines, Mary G, Todd's Tropicals, Toki World Mark, DD Blooms, Sveti's Orchids, Trish's Orchid Life, Ints Orchids at ADD, Orchids by the Lake and Ninja Orchids, and thank you so much to Ninja Orchids for organising this one. Now it's been a while since I last chatted with you, and that's because I've had quite a lot of change in my life, not least the fact that I have moved, as you might be able to tell from the change of table. The move has certainly caused me a few changes and things like this for my Neofinitias. So on one hand, there have been some really positive changes from my move. One of the things I was lacking in my previous environment was enough window space to really care for my Neofinitias properly. Neofinitias grow naturally in countries like Japan. And in countries like Japan, there's a good day-night drop in temperature. Now the best way of replicating this, in my house at least, is to put an orchid near a window, or in the window rather. And that was really hard in my old house because the best windows I had were south facing, which was really intense. And that was a bit too much for the Neofinitias. In this new house, I have loads of wonderful northeast facing windows and the Neofinitias are really benefiting. So you can see here I've got some gorgeous blooms, and this is thanks to that day-night drop in temperatures that comes from being able to grow them in the window. And the scent is really super nice, although I must admit I kind of prefer the scent of some of the named hybrids of Neofinitias that I have. Maybe that's just me. Anyway, so some of my larger Neos, like my consumer back here, have really benefited from this kind of growing environment on the window, and they are loving it. They are growing big and lush. Consumer is an Amami Island variety with shimmer striping, and it's got these gorgeous dark green stripes basically against the light green stripes, which I think you can see quite well on this fan. Really beautiful when you grow it in less light. So this one's been doing really well, and so have many of my other larger specimens. But it's also fair to say that some of my specimens have struggled with the move, and I think I've been a bit stressed with the move, and it shows a bit in the plants, in how they have grown. I think Tamakongo is the best example of this. So these are all the leaves that grew on my Tamakongo before moving. So they're all quite a good length. And then you can see this one developed around moving time. Right, this plant really needed some time and energy to adapt, and as a result I've got that short leaf, but such is life. So that will be with me for quite some time as a little reminder of the stress of the move on my plants, and maybe not just on my plants. Now the other thing I'm finding in my new environment is that it's not quite as humid as my old environment, and some of my smaller Neofinitias are struggling slightly. So I have repotted some of them into plastic solid pots. They were in these kind of basket-like pots before, and they were drying out and their roots were aborting. So as an experiment, I'm putting the small ones like this Humaiden into plastic pots with a small amount of sphagnum moss just lightly touching the roots to really give lots of humidity without the risk of giving them rot. So it's nice, light and airy, but I'm hoping it's nice and moist, and I'm hoping it's going to really encourage the root growth in some of my smaller Neos who are distinctly struggling in this environment. A couple of my Neos quite some time ago fell a little unwell, And I just wanted to give you an update on those ones before I move on to a couple of updates on the root diary. Now, one of these was Kamiyama Nishiki, who, the main fan of this plant, ended up catching rot and dying, and I rapidly cut off the baby fan from it just in case I could save it. I'm really pleased to say that this is that baby fan. It's doing brilliantly. You can see those roots. There's not much of the variegation left. It should have a stripiness penetrating all the way through the leaves, and at the moment you can just see a little bit on the stem rather than really loads of abundant striping on the main leaves on the top. But I'm so pleased that this one has made it through and survived, because it doesn't always happen that I can save the fan when something happens to the parent. And then I have quite the opposite story here. My Komatsu Musume got rot near the base of the main fan, so that was about here, and I thought it was a goner. I chopped off the baby fan, kept that alive, and somehow the parent fan, the adult fan, pulled through and produced these absolutely tiny leaves that you can see up here in its stress and in its recovery. But astoundingly, this plant is still alive. You can see lots of evidence of its battle with the rot here. So there's marks on the stem, and there is the smaller leaves as we discussed, but this plant is surviving somehow, and with this new fan it's thriving, so well done that plant. And last but by no means least is an update on a couple of my plants from the Root Diary series. So I did a little series on Neofinetia root diaries, because there was a time when I bought a load of Neofinetia fans that had been sold without roots. And this is really difficult. It can take years to bring back a Neofinetia from this kind of situation. They really are in a poor state if they're like that. Well, I got these fans and many of them did die. A couple of them I have managed to save, and I'm very pleased to say that this one, not a Kinyuko, but who knows, maybe I'll find out what it is one day. This one's doing really well. These yellow leaves, I'm not totally sure what's going on. This has happened in the last couple of weeks, but it looks as though it stops kind of around where there are new roots emerging from the stem, so not too worried yet, we'll see. But this one's doing brilliantly, and is actually a really nice Neofinetia, even though I don't know what the variety actually is. And here, my Shiteno. My Shiteno has been a shy root grower for so long and has really struggled to adapt to having basically roots a couple of years ago. And now finally this year I feel like it's getting its mojo on. So we've got this beautiful root down here. It's coming to life a little bit all round, and nestled down here, what I'm hoping is the start of another fan, just there at the leaf join. Now, there's an outside possibility it's flowers. Shiteno can flower when they're ridiculously small, but I'm very hopeful that this will be a new fan, and this will be a new start for this Shiteno, which has been slowly recovering for the last couple of years. So there's a little bit of an update about me and about my plants as well, or a subset of them. And if you're interested in more Neofinitias and more care tips, please do check out the other channels down below. I'm sure they've got some fantastic plants and some fantastic ideas to share with us as well. The carecollab community is always looking for new people to share and to join it. If you are a content creator and you're interested in joining the care collabs and sharing with others how you look after your orchids, just get in touch. Thanks ever so much for listening. If you've liked this video, give it a like, and if you'd like to hear more, just subscribe to the channel. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.